That whole story, the inside story of what happened to Adolf Eichmann, had never been told before. Well, we published the story. It was, in old-fashioned terms, an international scoop. I don't mind telling you that. It was a scoop. And my editor rang up. He said, well done, congratulations. You got to go back and do a follow-up. This is what we do in the media industry. There's a story, then there's a follow-up. If it's strong enough. Not always. If it's strong enough, yes, go back and do a follow-up. So I rang Mr. Malkin. I wanted to go and see him. The phone rang and rang and rang. No answer. So the office said to me, well, you better go and see him. His house. And again, I got into my car, drove to Tel Aviv, knocked on his door, no answer. Then, like we do in the media, I knocked on this neighbor's door, I knocked on that neighbor's door. One of the neighbors said to me, why are you knocking? This house that you're knocking on, this house has been empty for 5 years. So having told his story, obviously Mossad decided they didn't want any more publicity, and they bundled him up and took him off to secrecy somewhere. So I went to the Foreign Office, the Israeli Foreign Office in Jerusalem. Very nice people, normally very cooperative in those days. And I said, look, I've had this exclusive story from Peter Malkin, this wonderful story about Mossad, how they kidnapped Adolf Eichmann. I've been back. My editor is desperate for a follow-up. Please, please, can you help me? And they said, we don't know who you're talking about. And in any case, even if we did, we never comment about intelligence operations. So that was the end of the follow-up. I was never able to do a follow-up. In hindsight, I should have said to him, Peter, why didn't we do a book together? I was simply reacting as an ordinary reporter. I should have had the long-term insight to say, let's do a book together. Maybe even let's do a film together. As it so happens, 5 years later, long after I had left Israel, he did do his own book. He wrote his own book about how we kidnapped Adolf Eichmann. And they did make a film about it. It was a huge success. But I didn't know it at the time, and I didn't have the anticipation at the time. Now, of course, when I look back and I think of what a sophisticated operation that was, what a classic espionage operation that was,